Today, we're gonna take a look at these two gimbals and see if they can go head to head on this mathematical stabilization test. Hey, how's it going, guys? My name is Safe Park. If you're new to this channel, welcome. Of course, the test I'm referring to is the Walk in the Safe Park gimbal test. It derives from the phrase walk in the park. It's easy, and I'm doing it. Yes, the channel is full of dad jokes, but it's also full of innovations such as this test. If you guys want to know more about this test and how it became, yeah, check out this origin story right here. But for now, let's get into it. Usually I do these tests on a tennis court, but today is a gorgeous day and all the tennis courts are full. So I just need a really dark, like flat, dull surface to tape this on.
Dude, thank you so much for agreeing to do this.
Come on back, gimbaler. Alright guys, we are back in the studio. By studio, I mean my kid's playroom. That's where I set up. In fact, it's about 4 o'clock in the morning right now, so I'm gonna try to keep my voice down a little bit. My kids are asleep, so I don't want to wake them up. But before we go over the results, I want to talk about the size of these two gimbals. So we have Ronin SC2 right here, and then we also have the webill-s. So they're both travel gimbals, guys, but I want to kind of like show you guys like side by side what the size difference is, because it almost didn't seem fair when I was testing it, like comparing these two different motor sizes, guys. I mean, like, I feel like I'm putting a 9-year-old in a sparring ring with a 22-year-old. Yeah, true story. I'll never forget. Now, I almost feel like Ronin SC2 is somewhere between like webill-s and like this thing right here. Oh, this is Crane 2S, guys. So let me see if I can compare these for you guys. So in order, something like that. So yeah, I mean, like if you look at the actual motor size, it's very similar to Crane 2S versus the webill-s. webill-s is tiny compared to all of these gimbals here. Here, let me lay it down flat so you guys can see it better. This is Ronin SC2, and here is the webill-s. Let me go ahead and take off the tripod so you'll actually see what it looks like. Yeah, so we're talking significant size difference in terms of actual volume. I know Ronin SC2 does fold up, so this is kind of cool. You guys probably seen this. If you unscrew this part, and this thing gets me every time, I'm gonna have to be very careful. Oh, here you go. So it does fold up like this. So if you compare the size that way in terms of volume inside your bag, yeah, they're about the same length, I would say. But in terms of actual volume, like look at this spot right here. Do you guys ever like travel with one backpack and you have to like fit all your gear and wonder, oh, should I bring one more underwear? Yeah, this is where your underwear will go. Yeah, you're not bringing your extra underwear with this one. The point actually is, guys, the motor size is significantly different. I would say they're not even in the same class in terms of actual motor size or the actual volume of the gimbal. But I wanted to kind of show you guys the size difference before I actually show you the data and the result of this test, because it is interesting. So let's take a look. And just in case you guys didn't watch the origin story of how I developed this test and why I'm doing it, just to recap a little bit, what I have essentially done here is track the orange X and export that location data, X-axis and Y-axis, into a spreadsheet. And each frame I calculate the delta and averaged it out as a whole at the end to see how much of that X actually is changing on the screen to get a better sense which gimbal is smoother. Of course, the perfect score would be 0, where in a perfect gimbal, the X will not move and it will stay still. So the lower the number is better. Now, there are many aspects I have to consider to make this test as accurate as possible, and these things are the things I consider, but there are mainly just 3 parts. First is the 42mm. That's like smack down in the middle of the focal ring in a Sigma 24-70 DGDN Sony lens. Second is the 70mm. Obviously, that's far as this lens goes. And the third is the super mode. So these Ronin SC2 and S2 actually comes with this super mode, which put this motor on steroids. So I felt like I had to do that as part 3 of this whole entire test. So without further ado, let's take a look at the result. All right, so first it's gonna be 42mm walk. So when I say walk, it's just a ninja walk as much as possible, holding a giant rig and a patchy grass. So take that with a grain of salt. Someone suggested I do a little bit more careful walk, so I'm doing that. But don't worry, there's another part to 42mm test. So Ronin SC2 is on the left side, webill-s is on the right side. So let's look at the result here. going all the way down. So Ronin SC2 got 0.45 and webill-s got 0.43. So webill-s actually beat Ronin SC on this test just by a hair. And I'm gonna explain to you why that is the case, but let's take a look at the second test. So second test is gonna be 42mm, but this time I'm not walking, I'm actually staying still, shaking the rig in place. So let's take a look at this result. So Ronin SC on the left, webill-s on the right. And the result here is Ronin SC got 0.62 and webill-s got 0.66. So Ronin SC beat webill-s in staying still and shaking. And again, not by that much. So let's take a look at the third test. 70mm walk. All right, Ronin SC scored 1.37. Obviously, it's a lot more extended. And then webill-s scored 1.41. So Ronin SC is pulling up ahead a little bit more as it's showing its motor power. Obviously, 70mm is gonna take a lot more motor power than 42mm. All right, fourth test, 70mm, staying still, shaking in place. Ronin SC scored 1.55 and webill-s scored 1.56. Again, very curious. Why is it that webill-s seem like it's catching up to Ronin SC2 here? All right, last test. 42mm at the super mode. So Ronin SC is on steroid at this point, and the result here is, all right, Ronin SC2 gets 0.48, webill-s gets 0.54. All right, so let me explain to you why webill-s seem like it's catching up to Ronin SC2. Let's go back to that 42mm walking test. So if you guys look at this y-axis data only, you can see that webill-s actually loses to Ronin SC2 by a significant amount on the y-axis. That's basically up and down bounce movement, right? So we got 0.47 on the Ronin SC2, we got 0.59, almost 0.6 on the webill-s. And the reason why Ronin SC kind of lost this round by a little bit is because the x-axis, which is left and right movement, it is shifting a little bit. And I actually had that same issue with the original Ronin SC. I remember when I first got it with the first firmware, when you put the gimbal down still, it'll actually shift a little bit and float. So that is my scientific conclusion, because if you look at this data on every single test, you can see that it is drifting on the x-axis for Ronin SC2. So Ronin SC2 is basically beating webill-s mostly on the y-axis. And I did make sure, guys, when I did the test, both were in lock mode. So on Ronin SC2, there's no like lock mode, so you have to go custom mode and turn off all the axis follow, and I did that. So these two are in lock mode. They weren't supposed to move at all when I moved. So what do I make of all this? Currently, if you already have webill-s, I don't think this is enough reason for you to upgrade to Ronin SC2, especially Ronin SC2 currently brand new is $500, whereas in webill-s is much cheaper. I don't know the exact price, but I'll leave it in the description below. I'm sure there's gonna be plenty of sales going on in the future because, you know, fall, Black Friday, all that stuff is coming up. But if you guys are into more like real world tests, I would suggest checking out Vu's channel right here. Yeah, he's gonna do a full real world test this weekend on a full shoot. So using this, and he had webill-s in the prior days. So that's gonna be a really good video. And huge shout out to Vu for lending me this brand new gimbal for overnight for me to actually have it in this video. Cause yeah, what a guy, he's very generous. I'm gonna start calling him Gimbro. He was already my bro, and then he lent me his brand new gimbal, so he's my Gimbro. All right, enough dad joke for the night because my kid's about to wake up. But let's go ahead and announce the giveaway winner from my last gimbal video. You're like, say what? You had a giveaway? You didn't tell me about it? Yes, I'm giving away Crane 2S from my last gimbal video. If you missed it, don't worry guys, I'm gonna do another one pretty soon. It's gonna be an international giveaway. But for this one, let me draw a winner real quick so you guys know how this works. Let me go ahead and roll this camera here. All right, here we go. This always makes me a little bit nervous because it's one take only. I have one shot. All right, let's go. So here is all the contestants. So I filter by country. So these are all United States. Let me double check. You got California, New York.
More California, Pennsylvania, Florida. Yep, they all seem to be United States. New Jersey, Texas, Oklahoma, Florida, North Carolina, Maryland, California, South Carolina, all United States. Yeah, it'll be really awkward if you got like an international person here by accident and then they get to be the winner. So yep, they are all United States. All right, so now that I know it's all United States,
I'm gonna go ahead and click winners, and here we go. All right, all right, 1, 2, 3, go! And oh no, this happened last time. Oh my goodness. All right, so winner to draw, one winner. Here you go. It's anticlimactic. All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3. Drawing 10%, 100%, and the winner is we have Edward Valencia. And from Seattle, congratulations, Edward. Thank you everyone so much for the support. And if you didn't win, don't be discouraged. I mean, there's plenty of giveaways coming. There's at least one coming up very soon. So stay tuned for that and do subscribe and hit that bell notification. I hope to see you guys in the next video. Until then, stay stable. Later.